Good morning, honorable members. Welcome in today's session. I was just trying to wait and see whether we do constitute the quorum. I think we do. Ari or Ayanda, can you flag the agenda? I hope I calculated correctly. Okay, are there, are there any apologies first?
Yes, Chair.
Yes.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, honorable members and colleagues. Chair, I receive an apology from Mr. Lorima. He won't be able to join us in this meeting. And Mr. Volmarans and Ms. Malinga are trying to log in. There's an issue with load shedding, but they say they will keep on trying. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. Honorable members, we have one item, and as we know, as we meet today, yesterday we were commemorating or remembering the incident that happened in Lily Mine, which is 8 years now, and no solution yet on site, and we hope we'll be seized with the processes of trying to find a lasting solution. There is only one item, honorable members, that we are having today. Looking at the work that the committee has done, we all know that at the end of the month of March, the House and the term and the curtain will be coming down, going out to prepare for the new administration, which is the 7th administration. And we had then to look at what are the key issues that we need to prioritize. And then the rest of the other items, probably leave them for the legacy process, which they will be contained therein. So we are doing all our best to prioritize what we think can be done between now and the end of the term. But also I must say that obviously there are those areas or things that are compulsory for the committee to round off on, so that they can fit to the end of the program. And I can just highlight 3 areas that even from the House chairs and instruction that require committees to make sure that those issues are rounded off. In fact, as a committee, in some of those, we are almost completely far behind, and it is understandable why we have
Recording
done so.
in progress.
The first one, I must say before we present the program, the first one we're told we must prioritize legislation, especially legislation that has been categorized as high priority. That is the first thing. The second thing, that the instruction that we received was to make sure that we're submitting the statutory reports that committees had undertaken. The third one is to make sure that we are able to finalize and submit the legacy report. So those in the main are the 3 main issues that are a directive to all committees, regardless which sector they are. As I have stated that in some of those who are already behind in terms of the work of the committee. For the past 2 years or so, if I'm not mistaken, in the main, who have been dealing with legislation, which mostly 3 of those have been taking us out in terms of conducting public hearings. So we are now tabling for the committee the proposed congested program. We understand that members at the same time are now in the high political mode, high gear of political mobilization for elections and other things. And we are putting it here. Obviously, it does not give us guarantees because all of us are coming from political parties. We've got our own principles, and we are subject to guidance and directive from our own principles. But we hope and wish that the agents of some of these matters will also be considered by all of us, including our own principals. So we are going to be tabling to the committee now what we think are areas that we have to prioritize, and where possible, find a mechanism on others on how to facilitate and ensure that there is a faster, effective, and productive process. So without any further delay, with your permission, honorable members, let me allow the committee staff to take us through the proposed program of the for the up until the end or towards the end of March. I must say, as a last point here, is that obviously there are certain things, for instance, like legislation, that can be treated, that they can be finalized end of March. They will have to be finalized much earlier so that they can then go through the normal procedure or processes of the National Assembly. And then they will be referred for concurrency to the National Council of Provinces. So those are some of the things that unfortunately we cannot do without, or we cannot do without finalizing them. Ari, is it you who is taking us through the proposed program?
That is correct, Chair.
Okay.
Thank you, Chair. So, yeah, as you've indicated, Chair, the focus will be on processing the legislation and taking into consideration the limited time available. Members will recall that we have 2 pieces of legislation in front of us: the Electricity Regulation Amendment Bill and the National Nuclear Regulator Amendment Bill. Now, yeah, so we've started today on consideration and the adoption of the first term program. Then, this coming Friday, after SONA, the tabling of the first draft of the consolidated provincial public hearings report on the ERA Amendment Bill. And then, as Chair indicated, one of the key issues that we need to deal with is the study tour reports as per directive of the Office of the House Chair. But we'll also consider and adopt the outstanding reports of the committee, which includes the renewal of the MPRDA summit and then the Reveille report. Then on Wednesday the 14th, on Tuesday the 13th, the reason why we're having this meeting on the Wednesday, which we need to apply to the House Chair, on Tuesday there's sittings the morning and the afternoon. I think if I recall, it's the response, on the SONA, debate on the SONA. But on Wednesday the 14th, the morning, consideration and adoption of the consolidated provincial public hearings report on the ERA. And then immediately thereafter, responses by the DMRE on issues emanating from the consolidated provincial public hearings report. Then we'll also consider and adopt the motion of desirability on both the ERA Amendment Bill and the NNR Amendment Bill, respectively. Then, on Friday, the 16th of February, from Friday the 16th, we start with deliberations on the ERA Amendment Bill. We felt that, as Chair indicated, with a limited time, we need to maximize our time. And then it was agreed that we do the bills concurrently, the ERA bill and the NNR. So on Friday the 16th, the morning session, we'll do the ERA bill, and the afternoon, the NNR amendment bill. Tuesday the 16th, same principle, morning ERA bill. After the sitting on Tuesday the 20th, we'll continue with the deliberations on the NNR bill. On Wednesday, again, the morning session, deliberations on the ERA bill. Thursday, the 22nd, there's the caucus, I think the morning, yeah. So we'll start the afternoon. These are all meetings that we need to apply to the House Chair in order to meet, because these are out of our slot. Members will recall that our slot is Tuesdays and Fridays. So immediately after the sitting on Thursday, the 22nd, we'll continue with deliberations on the NNR amendment bill. Friday, which is our slot, the morning session, the ERA, and then the afternoon, the NNR amendment bill. Tuesday, the 27th, the morning ERA, afternoon NNR. Again, there's a sitting in the afternoon, but we need to apply to get approval. Wednesday, the 28th, same principle, morning ERA, afternoon NNR. Friday, the 1st of March, hopefully by then we'll do the clause by clause on the ERA amendment bill and consider and adopt a committee report on the ERA amendment bill. The following Tuesday, the 5th of March, we'll do the clause by clause on the NNR bill and consider and adopt the committee report on the NNR amendment bill. Now, on Tuesday the 12th, so we hope to finish by Tuesday the 5th. As Chair indicated, these two pieces of legislation must still go to the NCOP. ERA bill, Section 76 bill, which has a different process in the NCOP, and the NNR, which is a Section 75, has a different process in the NCOP. But we've tried to give the NCOP leg maximum time. So yeah, so by Tuesday the 5th, we should be finished by both pieces of legislation. And then it just it depends on when the sitting in the NA will happen for these two pieces of legislation. But that is out of our hand. That is the NA table that must do that. But immediately thereafter, it will be referred to the NCOP select committee responsible for energy. Then on Tuesday, 12 March, this is one of the items or some of the items which the committee, which is still outstanding. So, which relates to the, members will recall that the Central Energy Fund was the only entity of the committee, of the department, which did not submit their annual report. So this meeting is scheduled for Tuesday the 12th. Briefing by the Auditor General on the audit outcomes of the Central Energy Fund. Briefing by the Central Energy Fund on the annual report. And then also an update on the SAFE Group turnaround strategies, including all projects that are in the pipeline and those that have already been awarded. This is an item that shouldn't actually be here for now, but we'll request the DMRE to forward us reports on these items, the contaminated diesel at 70 filling stations, the cadastral system, and governance concerns issues at Merwadi. Then, on Friday the 15th, we'll table the first draft of the legacy report for 2019-2024. Then we'll have discussions on the Makua and Outa, and then consideration and adoption of minutes. This is another issue after the incident in December, if I'm correct, Sibu. But briefing by the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy on mine health and safety, occupational incidents, including fatalities that have occurred in the mining industry from 2019 to 2024. And then a comprehensive briefing by Impala on the incident that occurred in the mine in 2023. Our last meeting will be on Tuesday, 26 March, where we will consider and adopt the committee legacy report for 2019 to 2024. That's it from my side, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Ari. Honorable members, there is the proposed, we know it's very, very packed and very squeezed. Honorable, I see the hand of Honorable Mahlaule. Is there any other hand? Honorable Mailem, is there any other hand? Going one, going two, going three. Okay, Honorable Mahlaule.
Thank you very much, Chair, and greetings to everybody who logged in. Chair, I'm just looking at the program and its agency and how we must treat the program. I don't know how urgent is Makua and the Outa in the program. What is it that I even forgot what is it that we must be discussing around Makua and Aboa. And if I can be clarified there and look at whether it should be in our priority in terms of the issues that we are looking at. Thank you very much.
Okay, are you done, Honorable Mahlaule?
Yes, I'm done, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Honorable Mailem.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, while I note the urgency of completing all of this activity, and in particular the legislation, I do want to highlight the fact that this is something that we have been raising for a very, very long time, that we were going to be pressurized at the end of the term with specific regard to the legislation that we needed to process. And I do think it is incumbent on you as the chair to write to the minister and point out that the delays that we are experiencing or have experienced up to now are entirely to be put on the department and on the minister. We cannot be held responsible if this legislation does not get passed. That's the first point. The second, Chair, is this, that Fridays are typically constituency or travel days for MPs, and as we get closer to elections, they are going to become more and more important for members of parliament to be in their constituencies. So I have a real issue with the fact that we have so many meetings scheduled for Fridays, given that Fridays and Mondays are recognized as constituency and travel days. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, honorable members, I think let me start with what Honorable Mahlaule said. No, Honorable Mahlaule, if members recall, we were requested by the Speaker's office that we needed to attend to the issues raised by Makua, and I think we have done our part and everything, and the same thing with Outa. But the committee has not done a report that will then be forwarded to the Speaker in terms of what was a directive. You will recall that on other aspects, for instance, where we were given joint responsibility with regards to the fuel prices, we did submit the report. With regards to the issue of Eskom and other issues, besides the fact that almost all those two issues, some of them were debated almost 3 times. we did make the report available, and we concluded what was the work of the committees, not even a committee. In one of those, the issue then is not a discussion, but is a committee report that we need to agree to say, yes, for example, the committee has met, these are the issues that it has done, including the interactions with the department, creating space for them to have a dialogue and so forth. And then we then say, this is the work that the committee has done and submitted to the speaker. So it's a question that we can't do the report and it is not a reflection of the committee. So it's not the rehashing and having meetings. It is about us as a committee to say, this is what we think we have done. If we feel that we have concluded there is no avenue that we have not attended to, that's what we'll be able to say. I'm not sure I need to be guided by honorable members on the second part that Honorable Milam is raising with regards to the issue of the legislation. I think when we had a discussion in the first place, we did raise, and I agree with him, concerns around the legislation. But if we recall, when the department came in, there was a big issue where the delay came from. But that's not my issue now. My understanding is that when we deal with the legislation, finishing or not finishing it, part of the report of the committee on the legislation now, specifically on that legislation, for instance, when we deal with the ERA bill, my understanding is that in the report, we will then capture that it is, for instance, if the committee agrees to that, the committee is quite concerned that this type of a legislation was presented to it at a very late stage. There were a lot of delays, blah, 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 blah. And therefore, it is our view that somebody must take responsibility for that delay. And if we say it's the department or it's the minister, we then say that as a committee. Remember, it's a report and recommendations of the committee. And if the committee makes that recommendation about the executive authority, it will, on that specific legislation, make that recommendation. I'm not sure whether that will not, so that we don't start to discuss it now. We discuss it as part of the report. I hope also the staff can help us, whether is that not a correct procedure. The third leg, I note that is why, I started by saying when we look at the available time, unfortunately, there's nothing, but you will recall again, honorable members, we were given a template time allocation that no committee will meet. That's why also I was making that emphasis that Wednesdays, for instance, were not guaranteed because that's not ours. In fact, the instruction, if members remember very well, was that no committee will be allowed to meet outside its lot, which means Wednesday is not ours and it's not guaranteed that we will meet on Wednesdays. But what do we do when our Tuesday that we are utilizing is also occupied on for the full day? So I think that's the dilemma that we are having. Fridays, and that's not for me, Fridays in terms of the instruction that as a committee we receive, to be honest, Fridays are allocated to this, to be specific to this committee, that this committee must utilize Tuesday and Friday. It is up to us then to say, no, we are of the view that Friday is not a suitable one. The only principal thing that I remember the committee agreed on was that instead of using Fridays for hardcore committee activities or matters, let's use Friday as, if I may use in inverted commas, for light, heavy activities, and then load Tuesday with those hardcore activities. I think, but I can be guided, and also the if it was in the I shall say the table staff, I think also the committee secretariat can assist if they want to make a comment on this. I think also my last issue, by the way, I'm sorry to say this out to come in. I think the last issue also I want to raise here is that this program is also subject. You will remember when it comes to legislation, is also subject to the availability of legal services as well as the chief state law advisors, because when we deal with the deliberations and the clause by clause, that is when we will then be required to, at some levels, stages, get legal guidance on what is it that the committee legally can do or say and what not. So even that program, honorable members, it is subject to the availability of the two institutions of parliament. I don't know, honorable members, if there is any take on the proposal, then also on the issue, on the part of the committee secretariat, if they also want to add on my trying to explain the issues that honorable members raised. Can I take it that they say silence means consent? Aren, did I try enough?
Yes, Chair,
No.
you did.
Yes, you are
You-
correct, Chair.
Okay, yeah, if I'm in trouble, I must be in trouble with you. Okay, is there a mover then of the program, honorable members, based on the clarities that have been provided? Am I audible?
Chair, I can hear you.
Yes, Chair.
Okay. Yes.
Yes, Chair, we can hear you.
Is there a mover then for the program as provided with clarity?
I move, Chair.
Honorable Malinga is moving. Is there a second? I see the hand of Honorable Chafta.
I second, sir.
I second.
Sorry.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay.
I'm seconding the adoption of the agenda, Chair, but also with the room that we leave as a committee for some amendments as we go forward.
Okay, Honorable Jafta is not the agenda, is seconding the proposed program subject to intervening processes. On that note, honorable members, is there any other matter?
I'm seconding the program, not the agenda.
I don't abuse.
Yeah,
Don't
Bonnie, I'm seconding the program.
don't abuse with
Well,
me, please.
These Northwest people are troublesome.
Honorable members, thank you very much for your cooperation and your assistance. We are almost on the last leg. Please be patient with this chair. Maybe we may never see each other, whatever the circumstances, or we might meet again in the 7th administration. Let's just make the last push. I know it's gonna be quite taxing and quite tough, but you have always risen to the occasion. That's one thing I can defend this committee, that when work is put and the chips are down, we do our level best to make sure that we perform, even when we complain and grieve and everything, but we never stopped doing what we have to do. I'm just up there saying that I don't underestimate the capacity that you have. I don't underestimate the level of patriotism that you are having for your own country. And I think, wow, I'm not self-praising, but I think this committee, it's one of the good examples that if South Africans put aside everything, nothing is impossible to achieve. Differing and differences are possible, but at the end of the day, the work has to be done. On that note, thank you very much, honorable members. We will then meet Friday, ne?
That's correct. Yes, Chair. Yes, Chair.
Thank you very much. The meeting stands adjourned.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thanks, Chair.
Recording stopped.